Is your team winning in week 3 of the 2025 NFL season? I think I have the answer, so let's go ahead and dive on into my week 3 predictions. Alright, but before we get into my week 3 predictions, let's take a little look at how we stand so far in the season. So far, I am in first place, tied with my dad at 25-7. ChatGPT is right on our heels at 23-9, and Grok and my way too early predictions are trailing 4 games behind us at 21-11. Alright, so getting into the first game of the week, we got the Miami Dolphins going to Buffalo to take on the Bills. And let's be real here, this is going to be the eulogy of a deceased Miami Dolphins team. They're playing like beached whales. The Bills are on fire, so therefore I have the Bills. My way too early predictions has the Bills. My dad is taking the Bills, ChatGPT is taking the Bills, and Grok is taking the Bills in a high confidence move. Alright, up next we got the Green Bay Packers going to Cleveland to take on the Browns, and the Packers are playing like the team to beat in the NFC. So there's no doubt in my mind that the Packers are going to win this. My way too early prediction self took the Packers. My dad is taking the Packers. ChatGPT is taking the Packers, and Grok in another high confidence pick is taking the Green Bay Packers. Now, this is where things are going to get interesting. We have the Indianapolis Colts going to Tennessee to take on the Titans, a 2-0 versus an 0-2, but I don't think Indiana Jones is going to live on forever. And the Titans have been playing some really good football against some decent teams recently, so that is why I am taking the Tennessee Titans to get their first win of the season. But my way too early prediction self took the Colts, my dad's taking the Colts, ChatGPT is taking the Colts, and Grok in a medium confidence move is taking the Colts. Now we got the battle of the backups, the Cincinnati Bengals and Jake Browning taking on the Minnesota Vikings, and Carson Wentz, I believe, is the backup for him. This is going to be a very interesting game to see what these two teams have without their starting quarterbacks, and we're pretty much split on this one. I am taking the Cincinnati Bengals, and my way too early prediction self took the Bengals, but my dad is taking the Vikings, ChatGPT is taking the Vikings, and in a medium confidence move, Grok is taking the Vikings as well. Up next, we got a good one here. The Pittsburgh Steelers going to New England to take on the Patriots. This is game of the afternoon slate, I guess, material, apart from another one we'll get into actually next. But this is going to be a good one, back and forth, I would imagine. And I am taking the Steelers to bounce back in this one. My way too early prediction self took the Steelers to bounce back. My dad is taking the Patriots. ChatGPT is taking the Patriots. And in a low confidence move, Grok is also taking the New England Patriots. Now, that other game of the week I was alluding to, yeah, it's the Los Angeles Rams going to Philadelphia yet again to take on the Eagles, dropping both of those games against the Eagles last year due to Saquon Barkley running all over them. I think this Rams team, though, is going to be a little bit different. I like the way they've been playing, even though I've been a little bit on edge the last couple weeks. I still like the way they've been playing. I think that there will be a chance against this Eagles team, so therefore I am taking the Rams. My way too early prediction self took the Rams. My dad, though, is taking the Eagles. ChatGPT is taking the Eagles, but in a low confidence move, Grok is taking the Los Angeles Rams. Now we got the New York Jets going to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers, but remember, there is no Justin Fields in this game. So the Buccaneers are going to be playing against the Jets backup, which I'm not sure who it is offhand, but either way, I think Tampa's the better team, so I'm taking the Buccaneers. My way too early prediction self took the Buccaneers. My dad's taking the Buccaneers. ChatGPT's taking the Buccaneers. And in a high confidence move, Grok is taking the Buccaneers. Up next, we got the Las Vegas Raiders and Genoa Salami Smith taking on the Washington Commanders, hoping to bounce back after the Packers game. This is going to be another interesting one to watch. How can the Commanders respond to a complete and utter pantsing on national television last week? But they are well rested. They're more well rested than the Raiders will be in this one. And I think the Commanders are the better team, so therefore I am taking the Commanders. My way too early prediction self is taking the Commanders. My dad's taking the Commanders. ChatGPT is taking the Commanders. And in a medium confidence move, Grok is also taking the Washington Commanders. Up next, we got the Atlanta Falcons going to Carolina to take on the Panthers. The Panthers have been desperate and hungry and fighting for a win each week, yet they've been coming up short both times. The Falcons, on the other hand, did not look good in their lone win of the season. Yeah, it was against the Vikings, and yeah, they put up a show late, but again, the whole pretty much first half, it was just a field goal fest. It was an awful showing of a game. So therefore, I'm going to take Carolina to get their first win of the season at home against a division rival. My way too early prediction self also took the Carolina Panthers. However, my dad is taking the Atlanta Falcons. ChatGPT is taking the Atlanta Falcons, and in a medium confidence move, Grok is also taking the Atlanta Falcons. Now we're moving on to the last game of the 1 p.m. slate. The Houston Texans, who have not been living up to expectations, go into Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. This is going to be another fun one to watch. How can CJ Stroud bounce back? He's having a pretty decent season thus far, all things considered. It's just the team as a whole is just not really playing well around him. The Jaguars, on the other hand, really kind of punching above the belt where I thought they would be. They're playing a lot better than I thought they would be thus far. So therefore, that being said, I am still taking the Houston Texans, but my way too early prediction self took the Jaguars. My dad is taking the Jaguars, and ChatGPT is also taking the Jaguars. However, in a low confidence move, Grok is agreeing with me and taking on the Texans. Up next, we're moving into the 4 o'clock slated games. The Denver Broncos going to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. And let's be real, the Broncos, yeah, they're playing decent, and they did barely lose to the Colts on a game-winning field goal, which was absolutely electric to watch. I saw that live last week. It was insane. But the Chargers are just the better team. I'm taking the Chargers. My way too early prediction self is taking the Chargers. My dad took the Chargers. ChatGPT is taking the Chargers. And in a medium confidence move, Grok is also taking the Los Angeles Chargers. Up next, we got the New Orleans Saints going to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. I kind of wrestled with this game because the Saints have been playing way above their pay grade this year. A lot better than I was expecting out of them, if I'm being completely honest. However, this game is in Seattle, and they're riding the wave from the massive victory over the Steelers. So I am taking the Seahawks. My way too early prediction self took the Seahawks. My dad is taking the Seahawks. ChatGPT is also taking the Seahawks. And in a high confidence move, Grok is going to be taking the Seattle Seahawks as well. Now we got America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, going to Chicago to take on the Bears. This game is going to be a fun one, potentially. I wrestled with this one, and I almost took the Chicago Bears, but I do think that the Dallas Cowboys will still prevail. They're going to be a little bit embarrassed, a little bit of a fire under their butts after the win against the Giants in overtime, after running it so close with the Eagles in week 1. So that being said, I am taking the Dallas Cowboys. My way too early prediction self took the Dallas Cowboys. My dad's taking the Dallas Cowboys. The ChatGPT is taking the Dallas Cowboys. And in a medium confidence move, Grok is also taking the Dallas Cowboys. Now we got another one where we gotta think differently here. The 2-0 Arizona Cardinals going to San Francisco to take on the 2-0 Niners. The Niners, though, will be without Brock Purdy yet again. So it'll be very interesting to see. Mac Jones played well from what I heard last week. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he can roll into this next week. However, I am going to be taking the Arizona Cardinals on this one. I think the Cardinals just have a better odds, especially with the Niners missing out on some key players. My way too early prediction self, though, is taking the Niners. My dad's taking the Niners. ChatGPT is taking the Niners. But in a medium confidence move, Grok is also saving me from being a lone wolf yet again and taking the Arizona Cardinals. Now we move on to Sunday Night Football. The Kansas City Chiefs 0-2 going to New York to take on the 0-2 Milwaukee Giants. This is going to be an interesting one as the Giants are looking for their first win at home, but the Chiefs have been absolutely and entirely embarrassed thus far, going 0-2 through 2 weeks in the season. That being said, I am taking the Chiefs. My way too early prediction self took the Chiefs. My dad is taking the Chiefs. ChatGPT, though, is taking the New York Giants. It did note that it has a low confidence in this one, but it is taking the Giants. But in a high confidence move, Grok completely disagrees with ChatGPT and is taking the Kansas City Chiefs. And now we got the last game in our slate. The Detroit Lions go into Baltimore to take on the Ravens. This is going to be a thriller on Monday night, which we will be live for. Don't miss it. Be there or be square. We'll also go ahead and give the entire streaming schedule after this bit here. But this game is going to be fun. It is in Baltimore, though. The Lions still, I think, have a little bit more to prove. So I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens. However, my way too early prediction self took the Lions. My dad's taking the Ravens. ChatGPT is taking the Ravens. And in a high confidence move, Grok is also taking the Baltimore Ravens. All right, now as we go into week 3, what am I going to be streaming? What games will I be live for? Well, I can tell you right now, second half of Thursday Night Football, the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. We will be there giving a live eulogy of the beached whales. I mean, the Miami Dolphins. And 1 p.m. on Sunday, we'll be live for Steelers-Patriots. At 4 p.m., we'll then transition into Cowboys-Bears. Then Sunday night, we'll go live for Chiefs-Giants. And then again on Monday, we will be live for Lions-Ravens. Now, I did want to do something a little bit different as well. Given the way everything's been moving over the last week, I've been really moved through my faith. Those of you guys who know me, you guys know I am a Christian. I've been really kind of diving into my faith a little bit more. So I wanted to, on these videos, occasionally pick out a couple verses that I've been wrestling with. And especially recently, that verse I'm highlighting is Ephesians 6:12. This is a very big, powerful verse given everything that is going on right now. Let me go ahead and read it for you guys. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. This is just a big reminder that everything we do in this world is not against flesh. It's not human against human. It is against a greater spiritual entity that we are all in the midst of fighting of. So whether it be, the massive increase in shootings this last week, again, it's not against flesh and blood. It's against the authorities. It's against the evils and the dark forces in the spiritual realms. Again, this is a phrase I like, that everything that we see in this world is a reflection of the spiritual realm. And you can see that battle is really heating up right now, just given the way this world is right now. But I did just want to take a little bit of time just to kind of devote that, because I do feel like spreading the gospel is a big, big, powerful thing, especially in these times where some people are feeling that there's no hope in this world, It's sad to say it, but there's some people that think this world is gone. It's, beyond redeeming, and that there's no hope, So having the gospel spread around is like giving that little bit of light, that little bit of hope in someone's life that could be life-altering for them. But yeah, that is going to do it for me today. If you guys did enjoy the video, dropping a like and subscribing is a big way for you guys to show your support. We did hit 200 subscribers on the channel. Huge shout out to you guys. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you guys. We hit that over the streams over the weekend. I believe it was on Monday night we hit 200 subscribers. So we did it right at the end of week 2. Again, I've said it before, I want to be at 250 subs at least by the end of the season, but we might be able to even see if we can gun for 250 by like week 6. That would be an insane milestone if we could be at 250 subscribers by week 6. So if you guys are new here, smash the like, smash the subscribe. It's free. It helps me out a whole lot. And with that, I will catch you guys next time. Peace out and have a good one.